Chinese New Year, and we've just come in from an awesome surf, and I have a lot to share about health and my experience, and hopefully it might help other people. And this amazing young woman has been with me the whole way through some really extreme health challenges. So do you remember, Lil, when I first got tick bites?
Yeah, I remember you came in from being out in the backyard and you were in the shower and just finding heaps and heaps of tiny little ticks that were everywhere, all through your hair, all over your body. Just none of us could believe how many there were, like on you at that exact, from that one thing.
Yeah. And then it was like our whole life just changed, didn't it? When I got those tick bites. Yeah, so I'd been to every single natural practitioner I could go to, every single doctor I could go to, specialist, and I was in hospital for a week having tests, and I was sent home with Xanax and told I had anxiety, and I was just devastated because I was so incredibly sick
as well.
I was doing it I was like, oh my god, I'm feeling a little bit better, like a little tiny bit better. I could actually sleep a little bit because I'd been in agony every day, all night for 4 years. But it was about a year later, Gemma was at me to come surfing, and I hadn't been in the water for about a year because I'd been too sick. And even resting, like when I was just sitting down resting, I was in so much pain and agony, and my heart would be racing and beating and going crazy, and it was actually nice just to get in the water, and I felt like I had enough strength. And from then I remember we just slowly started getting in the water again, and slowly I was getting a little bit of fitness again, and over the next 6 months or a year, that's when I gradually got fit enough, like, to actually do a little bit. Even though I had burning, tingling, cramping in all of my muscles and throughout my body, and it was agony every day. But I think I hid that a lot from you. Yeah, I didn't want to worry you and Gemma, and anyway. And so then, talking about cancer, I can't say I've had cancer because I chose not to have invasive testing. By the time I found a little spot on my back, I'd really given up hope in having any help from any doctors, and so I found this little spot on my back that was itchy and scaly, and
there were a few people, like outside the people that you knew, that I knew, that were using it as well.
Yeah, and they were having success on cancerous spots, weren't they?
Yeah, and then same thing, some wouldn't work, some would, just all depending on the spot, I guess.
Yeah. And so then I asked Lily to put some on the little spot on my back. It wasn't all that big, was it? To start with?
No.
And what happened, Lil?
Just grew and grew and grew.
And so what happens is that when you put the ointment on, it will eat away the cancerous cells, and it will go wherever the cancer is. But it made a huge big scar on my back. And it was quite frightening. I realised that there was something seriously wrong.
You just slowly started saying, oh, my back's being a bit sore, like, can you do this? Or like a little bit like that, and a bit more and a bit more. And just kind of got...
It got to the point where you got to do everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was funny because I remember trying to hide it and not worry you, because I was shitting myself. I was terrified. I knew that there was something really seriously going wrong, but I didn't want to scare you, and yet I couldn't do things anymore. I couldn't lift things. I couldn't. At this stage, I'd actually stopped surfing because I was too scared of what was happening in my body. And I think one time I'd bent down to pull out a weed in the garden, and I got big tearing feeling in my back and then tingling in my feet, and that I just dropped to my knees and I just sat there. I was by myself. The girls were at school. I just sat there just thinking, oh my god, what's happening in my body? And I was terrified. I knew I was in serious trouble, and I know I didn't want to tell you how bad it was.
That's something that also frustrated me a bit as well. Like, you didn't explain it, you just say my back's a bit sore. So like, I didn't really know how bad it was. So when you'd just be like, oh, my back's just pretty sore, I'd be like, oh, like, come on.
Put some effort in, Mum.
But yeah, so like at one point I'll be like, okay, it's sore, but then
Yeah.
like, come on. But
I think there was a stage there, didn't I get really mad and frustrated once, and I did explain that my back's really bad?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I just really need you to do it because I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like weekends we would sort of do something, or I could still drive you places and I could still cook, couldn't I? Whereas when I was sick with the Lyme, I couldn't get up and cook a meal.
Yeah.
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 So you felt, even with my back, because I could actually do day-to-day chores, you felt like, well, it's not as bad as when she was dying with Lyme.
Yeah. When you could hardly even go outside.
Yeah, like I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
And I just was struggling to get up and go to the toilet, let alone stand at the kitchen and try and cook a meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people probably never realise, because I kept everything to myself, and because I didn't want people being scared for me. I didn't want people saying, oh, you've got to go and have chemo, you've got to go and do this, and I didn't want them looking at me thinking, oh gosh, is she like going to be okay, or is she going to die, I didn't want anyone treating me differently because I've been so sick for so long. And so I don't think anyone would realise that, because I ended up having thermal imaging, and as I got better and better, all the different remedies that I was trying, that I was improving slowly but consistently. And so I really wanted proof to show that there was what was going on. And my doctor suggested thermal imaging because I didn't want any harmful invasive testing or any radiation. And so thermal imaging showed up all the areas that I'd drawn. She said to just do a diagram of where I felt problems, and it showed up through my spine, my back, coming down from a hidden tooth abscess. I think that's where it all stemmed from, and both breasts, which I didn't realise. But to be honest, most people would freak out if they found out they had breast cancer or any cancer in their body, and especially in the spine. But after my back had been so bad, finding out it was in my breasts as well, it was just like, who cares? Like, as long as my back's getting better, then I knew I was overall getting better. And so I think it would be quite a surprise to nearly everyone we know, and especially all our surfing friends, that I've actually been that bad. And but I really hid it a lot. Every time I was in pain, or I could be talking to people with a smile on my face and my back's in agony, and no one would know. But at least that way I could feel like I was just normal without, feeling like during the week I'd go home after the weekends and I'd be a wreck. Like I'd have to recover for a week or 2 or 3, and so about once a month we were going to surfing events, weren't we?
Yeah.
And so then I'd come home and I'd just recover, and I'd do all my remedies, and every night, every day when we're out at the competitions or away anywhere, if I forgot something, remember that time I thought I forgot one of my remedies?
I think we're halfway and you were about to turn around and go back.
Like a couple of hours drive.
Yeah. But didn't you? Oh, and you're going to get someone else to pick it up then.
Well, then we thought maybe someone from home hasn't left yet and we could get them to go to our house and get it.
And then you end up finding it, did you?
And then I ended up finding it. And you remember how cranky and anxious and upset I was getting?
Yeah. You were about ready to turn around after we've been driving for 3 hours?
It would have been
like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're about to turn around to go back and get it. I was like, what? No.
Because I couldn't go a day without my remedies because it was agony, and I knew I couldn't. Yeah. But thankfully they've worked so well, and we've just been out there at Rainbow Bay on the Goldie. How many hours? A couple of hours surfing?
2.5.
Catching waves together. I went to high five Lily and she grabbed my hand and pulled me backwards.
I jumped onto your board.
I felt like you just pulled me backwards and pulled me off.
If the wave was a bit bigger and could keep going, we could have been able to keep riding it, but it was dying out, so jumped on the back.
That was funny. I wasn't expecting, and it didn't hurt my back. Woo, yeah!